What are you hearing are the concerns of the people who are on the phone or on the street?
People are concerned about the role Canada is playing internationally on the international stage, whether it's in Afghanistan or Iraq. People are concerned about the lack of leadership Canada is showing on the human rights front. Canada's constituents are concerned about the failure of Canada to stand up for its citizens, for its Aboriginal people. Our young people are particularly concerned about what their future holds. They're very worried about their world and whether we can have an economically sustainable world in a climate that our young people can thrive. There's a great deal of disaffection in the political process. People are saying, I've given up hope, I'm not going to vote because it's too partisan, it's too politicized, nobody really cares, nobody's honest. So I think that we need a fresh face. I think we need a fresh perspective. I think we need honesty. I think we need compassion. I think we need the capacity to listen to people's perspectives and be open-minded. We need to be able to work together to let people feel confident that they can speak, that they can vote, and their voice will be heard, and it will be taken to Ottawa. That's the challenge, and then the challenge is to make sure that Ottawa hears that voice and affects change. And it's a process that has been failing with this current government.
You do have a BA in economics, and you decided that you would go on to climate and deal with climate changes. How will that affect the people that are going to elect you as a candidate for the Liberals?
I took my bachelor when I began my bachelor when I was 17 years old, and I took 2 years of sciences first, and then I ended up with a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration and Economics from Simon Fraser University back in the time when they didn't have a Department of Business. And I did that because that's what was exciting me at the time, and I really enjoyed it. And then I went on to get a Master's in Business. I subsequently had some jobs, and then co-owned and managed a 500-head cattle ranch in the interior. But as I grew older and had my children, I realized that the problems that the world faces are very complex problems, and that when we focus on one discipline or one thing, we can sometimes miss how different people look at the problems. And complex problems frequently require complex solutions. And so I decided to go back and get my PhD. It was an interdisciplinary PhD in anthropology, biology, geology, and geography. And it required, a great deal of out-of-the-box thinking. And it subsequently led to 2 postdoctoral stints at the University of Victoria Climate Modeling Lab. And that's when I began to in-depth research the history of climate back 135,000 years and its relationship with humans, and what climate change has meant to humans in the past and what it likely will mean to humans in the future. So I think the focus here is that we need to have people that are well understand the complex nature of our world in order to answer the complex problems that we face.
Then you became executive director of the BC Cattlemen's Association. How does this experience enhance your candidacy for Saanich Gulf Islands?
Well, running a cattle ranch is a very interesting business, and it can be quite lonely sometimes. It can be very physically demanding, and it can be very exciting all at the same time. It's a very male-dominated, aggressive kind of industry where you have to be on your toes, and it's a credit to the people in the community, the ranching community that I worked, that they were able to elect me to represent them on the BC Cattlemen's Association, and that they trusted me enough to represent their interests as a woman in that very male-dominated and competitive business.
How would you feel that agriculture and the sustainability will prosper for Saanich Gulf Islands?
Agriculture is extremely critical to Saanich Gulf Islands. It forms the fabric of this community. we simply have about 3 to 5% or 3 to 5 days of food available to the people of this riding before we run out of food, unless it's brought over on the ferries. So we're very dependent on bringing our food from outside. And as we become less able to be dependent on fossil fuels to bring our food to us, to grow our food with, we are going to have to depend more and more on ourselves to grow that food, to grow healthy, sustainable, good food really close to where we live, so that we can support ourselves and support our children and grow a healthy community.
Excellent. The agriculture and the sustainability, how we can grow the economy.
I believe that we're standing on the precipice of a new era. We've been developing a fossil fuel industry for about 100 years now, 150 years, and we're very, very dependent on a fossil fuel industry. However, we're also on we're also either at or near peak oil, which means that we're running out of fossil fuels, and the cost of fossil fuels is going to increase. This has significant implications to the feasibility of us to maintain a healthy economy. So the best thing that we can do is lead the country by becoming less dependent on fossil fuels, and that in the end will actually reduce our costs of doing business. So the idea is not to pit the environment against the economy, but instead to work together to understand the different perspectives, the economic perspective, the environment and climate perspective, and to come to solutions that resolve our differences and help us to move forward in a healthy way for the future of our children. Why Renee Hetherington should be the MP for this riding?
That's right.
I have a long history in this riding. 3 generations of my family lived either on the peninsula or on Salt Spring Island. As a child, I played at my grandparents' and ate the vegetables and fruit that they grew on their home, and drank the milk that came from the dairy next door to their home, and played in the bath that they made in the tub on the front lawn as our bath, or lay in the tall grass in the orchard as the sun set and watch the deer come and bed down for the night. And I have a strong connection with this place. It is very important to me, as are the people in this riding are incredibly important to me. It is where I've raised my children. I also have a very broad background, as I've stated, and I think that's really important because we have a diverse background in Saanich Gulf Islands. We have brilliant artists and musicians, very innovative and creative business people that are doing wonderful things in our business community. We have young people, we have old people, and we have people in between. We have a strong agricultural community as well, and we have a strong First Nations community. So we have a very diverse group of people that need that require that someone understands and meets their needs as well. And so it requires someone that is capable of listening, and someone that understands and has compassion for their issues, and is willing to take those issues and take the best of what we have in this riding to Ottawa, and be prepared to voice those concerns and voice those ideas and affect change. What we require is someone in the governing party to affect change in this country so that Canada can be once again a world leader. And we have a nomination meeting coming up this Saturday, and they have a choice between a man and a woman, and I'm a woman, and there are far too few women in Canadian government. And so we need to ensure that we give the opportunity for more women to be there. So that would be, a first point. I'm a very good listener, and I have a great deal of compassion. And I don't care whether you're a Conservative, or whether you're a Green, or whether you're an NDP. You have a right to an opinion of your own, and I'm prepared to listen to what that opinion is, and to hear you out, and to understand where you're coming from, and how I can help you resolve the issues that are important to you. the way we've been doing it hasn't worked, and we need to find new ways to resolve our problems that won't pit the environment against the economy, that won't take benefit of the present generation at the expense of future generations.
So do you believe that there should be a healthy balance between the economy and the environment?
There absolutely must be. If someone can't feed their children and shelter their children, they will do anything to do that. If it destroys the environment or it kills other species, it won't matter, because their first priority is to provide shelter and food for their children. So it's imperative that we develop a strong economy. What we want to do, though, is develop a strong economy that husbands our resources, that is sustainable for the future of our children, that doesn't take our present welfare, that doesn't pit the present generation against future generations.
Thank you very much, Renee.
Thank you.